Stone moves when it shouldn't. 12,000 years before the Egyptians stacked their first block, hunter-gatherers in Turkey dragged pillars weighing 16 tons up a hillside and carved foxes, snakes, and vultures into them. No farms, no towns, no wheel, just stone and will. These aren't outliers. From Malta's temples older than the pyramids to Turkey's carved sanctuaries predating Stonehenge by 6,000 years, megalithic sites across the planet are forcing us to rewrite everything we thought we knew about when civilization began. The timelines you learned in school? Wrong. The neat progression from hunter-gatherer to farmer to builder? Backwards. These 12 sites prove it. Local farmers had known about the place for decades. Just stones. Schmidt sees something else. He starts digging. What comes up changes prehistory. Massive T-shaped pillars, 5.5 meters tall, 16 tons each, arranged in circles, carved with animals that shouldn't exist in architectural context for another 6,000 years. Foxes, cranes, scorpions, snakes coiling around stone arms. Wild boar frozen mid-charge. Schmidt dies in 2014. Work continues. As of 2021, only 5% excavated. The rest waits underground. The oldest parts date to 9,500 BCE. That's 11,500 years ago. Pre-pottery Neolithic, before ceramics, before metalwork, before anything we associate with complex society. Yet here stand dozens of circular enclosures with pillars that required hundreds of people to move and position. Each pillar carved from bedrock at a quarry site 500 meters away. No draft animals, no wheels, human muscle, coordination, planning. October 2025, excavations wrapped. Lead archaeologist Necmi Karul from Istanbul University told press the statue was likely a votive offering. Ritual deposit, built into the sacred architecture itself. This isn't a temple visited by nomads. New evidence from grinding mills, flint sickles, plant residues, water cisterns carved into bedrock shows permanent settlement. People lived here, families, generations. The old story was wrong. We thought agriculture caused settlement. Göbekli Tepe proves settlement came first. People gathered, built monuments, then figured out farming to feed the builders. Dr. Martin Sweatman from University of Edinburgh published research in Time and Mind Journal, July 2024. He analyzed Pillar 43. The V-shaped carvings aren't decoration. They're a calendar, lunisolar, 12 lunar months plus 11 days, tracking sun, moon, constellations. The oldest known calendar system predates everything by thousands of years. The alignment dates to 10,850 BCE. That's when a comet swarm hit Earth. Younger Dryas impact, mini ice age lasting 1,200 years, megafauna extinction. The pillar records the date, ancient people documenting catastrophe. Another pillar shows the torrid meteor stream lasting 27 days, emanating from Aquarius and Pisces. They tracked precession, Earth's axial wobble affecting constellation movement, sophisticated astronomy, revolutionary. This script is researched and factual, using sources from peer-reviewed journals like Nature, published August 14, 2024, detailing geochemical analysis of Stonehenge's altar stone, and from the journal Antiquity, June 2025, providing radiocarbon dates for Karnak's megalithic alignments using Bayesian statistical modeling with 49 samples. We're pulling from Istanbul University excavation reports published October 8, 2025 in Daily Sabah, and from UNESCO World Heritage documentation. These aren't internet rumors. These are academic sources, institutional archives, museum publications. Now back to the information. What nobody knew until August 2024 changes everything. The altar stone, 6-ton sandstone slab at the center. For a century, experts said, Wales. Wrong. Curtin University research team led by PhD student Anthony Clark analyzed mineral grains. Uranium-lead dating, zircon crystals, apatite, rutile, ages ranging from several hundred million to 3 billion years old. The fingerprint matched one place, Orcadian Basin, northeast Scotland, 750 kilometers away, more than 450 miles. The stone traveled farther than any other at Stonehenge, during the Neolithic, 2620 to 2480 BCE, before the wheel, before metal tools. How? Professor Chris Kirkland from Curtin's Timescales of Mineral Systems Group said the findings point to unexpectedly advanced transport methods, likely marine shipping route along Britain's coast, long-distance trade networks, higher societal organization than previously understood. The bluestones came from Preseli Hills in Wales, 140 miles, the Sarsens from Marlborough Downs, 15 miles. But the altar stone came from Scotland. Why? Nobody knows. What we know is this required coordination across hundreds of miles, boats capable of carrying 6-ton cargo, crews willing to risk open water, communities connected by more than accident. The complex covers 60,000 square meters, only 1% excavated, already revealing structures that rewrite history. T-shaped pillars carved into bedrock, some over 3 meters tall, sunken circular chambers, stone benches carved from living rock. In September 2023, Turkish and German teams uncovered 2 statues. First, a vulture. Prominent beak, wings wrapped around the front. Sophisticated craftsmanship. Second, a human figure. 2.3 meters tall, 7 feet 6 inches. The earliest realistic human depiction on Earth, broken in 2. Top, half found recumbent on the floor, legs in situ, sitting upright on a bench, strong V-neck motif carved on the torso, clear ribs, arms down the sides holding the phallus. Similar to Urfa man statue discovered 1993 during construction work near Şanlıurfa, dated to 10,003, 100 years ago. But the Karahan Tepe statue has eyes clearly carved. Urfa man's eyes are black obsidian. Karahan Tepe man has a beard, hairstyle evident. Urfa man appears bald. At dawn on winter solstice, sunlight enters through a specific opening, travels through the passage, illuminates the human statue's head. The orientation is approximately 20 degrees east of north. The vulture motif links to Cygnus constellation. Deneb, Andrew Collins, and Rodney Hale confirmed using Stellarium software backdated to 9000 BCE. The phenomenon still functions. Due to obliquity of the ecliptic, the alignment would have been even more precise 11,000 years ago. Nexmi Karul from Istanbul University leads the dig. He told Anadolu Agency in November 2024 they found many fireplaces in the excavated structure, an environment encountered for the first time. Important clues about public structures in the region. Over 250 T-pillars with animal figures uncovered by 2020. The site shows permanent habitation, domestic structures, sacred and secular spaces built simultaneously. People lived here year-round for 1,500 years. No farmed vegetation remnants, they remained hunter-gatherers, yet built monumental architecture, organized labor, hierarchical society. The old model is dead. 3,200 BCE, 5,200 years ago. Older than Stonehenge by 1,000 years, older than the Great Pyramid by 500 years, a kidney-shaped mound 85 meters in diameter, 13 meters high, covers 1 acre, built from 200,000 tons of pebbles from nearby Boyne River terraces, 547 stone slabs, grey waka, some from 5 kilometers away. Others from Cloggerhead Beach, 20 kilometers northeast, materials from Mournes and Wicklow Mountains. The passage is 19 meters long, leads to cruciform chamber, corbelled roof, still watertight after 5 millennia. The engineering is perfect. Water doesn't enter. The internal temperature stays constant. Winter solstice, December 19th to 23rd. Sunlight enters through a roof box above the entrance, crawls up the passage, floods the chamber for 17 minutes, precision timekeeping, built 500 years before the pyramids, 1,000 years before Stonehenge. The accuracy is remarkable. Cult of the Dead, veneration of ancestors, power structure visible in the landscape, DNA evidence from 2020. Trinity College. Dublin researchers found an adult male buried at Newgrange, born of first-degree incest. Parents were close relatives, brother-sister or parent-child. Elite bloodline preservation, same pattern in ancient Egypt. Hierarchical society, ruling class. The spiral carvings aren't Celtic. The Celts arrived 2,500 years later. These are Neolithic, older than Celtic culture. Tri-spiral on orthostat, C10, most famous Irish megalithic symbol, carved 5,200 years ago. Purpose unknown. Connection to the people who built it, direct. UNESCO World Heritage Site. Attracts 200,000 visitors per year. Winter Solstice Lottery receives 30,000 applications annually. 50 people chosen. The rest watch from outside. Research published in Antiquity Journal. French-Swedish collaboration. Neosia Project. University of Gothenburg. Archaeologist Bettina Schultz-Paulsen leads the team. Excavation company Archaeodunum. University of Nantes. They excavated the Plasker, previously unknown section of the site. Rescue excavation before 7,000 square meter business park development. 49 radiocarbon dates. Bayesian statistical modeling. Unprecedented chronological precision. The alignments date 4600 to 4300 BCE, the oldest megalithic monuments in Europe. Predates Stonehenge by over 1,000 years. Bay of Morbihan confirmed as earliest megalithic region on the continent. Whether for lighting, cooking, or ceremonial feasting, unclear. Further sediment and stone fragment analysis ongoing. The site also revealed a monumental tomb, built around 4700 BCE, constructed directly above remains of Mesolithic hunter-gatherer hut. Transition visible in the ground, hunter-gatherers to monument builders. Alignments Dumenech, 1,099 stones. Alignments de Kermario, over 1,000 stones. Moulin de Kermo, observation tower midway. Climb for overhead view. Alignment de Kerliscan, smaller grouping. Tumulus de Cercado, 3,800 BCE, massive burial mound. Tumulus Saint-Michel, requires 35,000 cubic meters of stone and earth, built between 5,000 and 3,400 BCE, 125 by 60 meters at base, 12 meters high. The labor required enormous. Social organization sophisticated, territorial coordination, shared cosmology. Second oldest existing man-made religious structures after Göbekli Tepe. UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1980. 5 other Maltese temple sites added 1992. The complex consists of 2 temples, side by side, enclosed within common outer wall, built from coralline limestone, hard-wearing, stands the test of time. Interior from Globigerina limestone, softer, smoother, used in doorways, altars, decorative slabs. Evidence shows internal walls were plastered and painted. Red ochre fragments found, preserved in museum. Each temple has separate entrance, central corridor, apses flanking. 5 apses in the southern temple, older, better preserved, built around 3600 BCE. The stones reach 6 meters high. Some megaliths weigh over 50 tons. No metal tools, no wheels. Ball bearings or pulleys suggested by marks on stones. The southern temple faces equinox sunrise. Astronomical alignment, religious significance, animal bones found, evidence of ritual sacrifice, communal feasting. Gantija, phase 3600 to 3000 BCE, represents important cultural evolution. First, datable temples. Ground plans evolve, lobed, trefoil, 5-apsed. Sir Temi Jamet excavated 1920s. He dated temples to 2800 BCE. Scholars said too high. Radiocarbon testing proved Jamet correct. Theory of Aegean-derived culture collapsed. Maltese temples are indigenous. Local innovation. Cultural evolution on isolated island. After 2500 BCE, temple building culture disappeared. Why? Unknown. Population decline, environmental change, cultural shift. The structures remain. Silent, massive. Proof of sophistication that predates recorded history by millennia. We're building a community of people who want real history, not sensationalism. This research comes from Heritage Malta's archaeological reports, the UNESCO World Heritage Center documentation for site number 132, and from peer-reviewed studies in the Journal of Archaeological Science, published 2023, examining Maltese temple construction techniques. These are museum archives, academic institutions, government archaeological services, not speculation. Now back to the sites. In 2008, German-Peruvian team led by Peter Fuchs announced discovery. Circular plaza, 10 to 12 meters diameter, constructed from rocks and rectangular adobe bricks. Radiocarbon dating indicated 3500 BCE. Nearby 2-meter-tall frieze dated 3600 BCE. The oldest examples of monumental architecture in the Americas. Predates Corral Sup. Predates Norte Chico. This was first. The complex includes 3 main structures from different periods. First edifice oldest, platform 16 meters square. Raised 2 meters, built from rocks and adobe. Sunken circular plazas. Calibrated radiocarbon dates range 3700 to 2900 BCE. Pre-ceramic period, before pottery. First building reconstructed 5 times. Plazas and staircases constructed, filled, rebuilt multiple times. The oldest plaza, radiocarbon dated 3500 BCE. The first edifice demonstrates hierarchical society. Organized labor, constructing the plinth, required 455 individuals working simultaneously for 1 year. Tasks involving megalithic stones, adobe bricks, platform mound volume, 287,600 cubic meters, monumental scale. This wasn't a village, this was a ceremonial center, administrative hub. The larger Sechin complex covers 400 hectares. Includes Cerro Sechin, discovered 1937 by Julio Tello, father of Peruvian archaeology. Cerro Sechin dates 1600 BCE, 300 carved stone slabs, bas-relief images depicting warfare, axe-wielding warriors, mutilated body parts, decapitated prisoners, violence recorded in stone. Sechin Alto, largest structure. Flat-topped pyramid, 300 by 250 meters, 35 meters high. Built 1600 to 1400 BCE. Largest construction in the Americas at that time. Dressed with granite blocks, 1.5 meters tall, weighing 2 tons each. Administrative center for the region. Roman conquest. Nearly 2,000 years of continuous megalithic building. UNESCO World Heritage Site. September 2023. The island hosts over 1,500 prehistoric sites. Highest density per square kilometer anywhere on Earth. 3 monument types unique to Menorca. Talayots, massive cone-shaped stone towers, 393 documented, built from unmortared limestone blocks. Cyclopean construction, 4 to 5 meters high, up to 26 meters diameter. Possible defensive, residential, ceremonial roles. Some connected by visual networks, signaling towers, talas, T-shaped monolithic pillars. 13 exist, up to 5 meters tall. Vertical stone supporting horizontal slab. Enclosed within U-shaped wall, 10 to 20 meters length. Religious structures, astronomical alignments. Most face south. Possible healing cult suggested by archaeologist Michael Hoskin. Built 500 to 300 BCE, Navetas, ship-shaped collective tombs. Largest, Naveta de Tudons, 2000 to 1000 BCE. Oldest fully roofed building in Europe. Dry stone construction, no mortar, advanced engineering. Prevailing winds and currents carried boats to island. Burial sites, oriented toward sunset. Same as Gulf of Lion area. Different from rest of Mediterranean, which face sunrise. Bronze sculpture of bull found at Torralba den Salord. 5th to 2nd century BCE. Animal worship common. Torre d'Engalme, largest settlement. Covers 6 hectares. Defensive walls, circular houses, Taula enclosure, astronomical orientations. Visual interconnections between structures, cosmological knowledge, territorial organization, sophisticated society. When Romans conquered 123 BCE, they found thriving culture, advanced agriculture, livestock farming, social hierarchization. The Cyclopean architecture continued use even into Islamic period. 10th century CE. Buildings stood for 3,000 years, still standing. Silent testimony to Bronze Age ingenuity. Poverty point, Louisiana, United States, 1600 to 700 BCE. Earthwork mounds, not stone, but monumental. Hunter-gatherer society, no agriculture, yet built massive concentric ridges, 6 semicircular rows, 4 feet high, over 3/4 mile diameter. Estimated construction required 5 million cubic feet of soil, baskets carried by hand. Population peaked around 1400 BCE, possibly 5,000 people. Largest settlement north of Mexico at that time. Mound A, 72 feet high, built in 3 months, 750,000 cubic feet of soil, 1,000 workers laboring 70 days. Coordination, planning, leadership. Trade network stretched 1,000 miles, copper from Great Lakes, stone from Appalachians, Ohio, poverty point objects, fired clay balls, used for cooking, heat retained in ground ovens, thousands found. Different shapes, different purposes, technology, innovation. The site challenges assumption agriculture required for complex society. Hunter-gatherers built monuments, organized labor, long-distance trade. Then culture disappeared. Why? Climate change suggested. Flooding. Mississippi River shifted. Resources depleted. Population dispersed. UNESCO World Heritage Site 2014. Recognized as outstanding universal value. Evidence of early monumental earthwork construction. Social complexity without farming. 22 million cubic feet of earth. Built in stages over 300 years. Basket load by basket load. Woodhenge. Circle of wooden posts. 48 originally. Cedar. Aligned with sunrise at equinoxes and solstices. Solar calendar. Rebuilt 5 times. Same location, same purpose. Cahokia's downtown, Grand Plaza, 40 acres. Artificially leveled. Ceremonial gatherings, trade, politics. The city had neighborhoods, elite residential areas. Craft production zones, agricultural suburbs, palisade wall surrounded central precinct. Rebuilt 4 times. Defense, status boundary. Religious barrier. Trade goods from across continent. Gulf Coast shells, Great Lakes copper, Appalachian mica, obsidian from Yellowstone, organized long-distance exchange networks, sophisticated economy. Crop failures, resource depletion, deforestation, overhunting, disease, epidemic possible, political instability, warfare, evidence of violence, mass grave, ritual killings. By 1400, CE abandoned, population gone. Mounds remain, massive, empty. Proof of civilization that rose and fell without leaving written records, oral histories, Osage. Other tribes preserve memories. Archaeological evidence fills gaps. Excavations continue. New discoveries every season. Understanding grows. What we know? Cahokia was urban center, political capital, religious hub, economic powerhouse for 600 years. Then silence. Rano Raraku Quarry. Hundreds of basalt hand axes, pounding, chipping, carving. 1 moai required 5 to 6 people working year. Transport from quarry to platform. Ahu. Distances up to 14 miles. How? Theories abundant. Walking hypothesis. Ropes tied to statue. Teams pulling side to side. Rock forward. Experimental archaeology showed possible, but most likely rolled on wooden logs or dragged on sleds. Deforestation resulted. Island stripped. No trees remained by 1600 CE. Ecological collapse followed. Population crashed. Birdman cult replaced ancestor worship. Moai toppled. Civil war. Competition for resources. The statues faced inland, watching over villages, protecting descendants. Eyes made from white coral, black obsidian pupils, inserted during ceremony, bringing statue to life. Platforms held up to 15 moai. Ahu Tongariki, 15 statues. Restored 1990s. Tsunami 1960 washed inland. Took 30 years restore. Japanese crane donated. Chilean government funded. Statues stand again, facing inland, silent. Monumental testimony to culture that pushed resources past breaking point. Warning carved in stone. Cahokia shows Native Americans built urban centers rivaling medieval European cities. Rapa Nui demonstrates island culture created monumental stoneworks while isolated by 3,000 miles of ocean. These aren't footnotes. These reshape what we thought possible for pre-industrial societies. 12 sites, 12 revolutions in understanding. Göbekli Tepe flips agriculture timeline. Stonehenge's Scottish stone proves Neolithic long-distance networks. Karahan Tepe holds oldest winter solstice alignment. Newgrange older than pyramids, still waterproof. Karnak predates Stonehenge 1,000 years. Europe's first megaliths. Gantija shows island culture's independently developed monumental architecture. Sechin Bajo dates America's oldest structures to 3600 BCE. Menorca's 1,500 sites prove Bronze Age complexity. Poverty Point, built by foragers. Cahokia rivaled medieval London. Rapa Nui carved giants on isolated rock. Coordinated. Visionary. They moved 16-ton stones up hills. They transported 6-ton slabs 750 kilometers. They carved statues 11,000 years ago. They built calendars tracking 13,000-year-old comet strikes. They engineered temples, still waterproof 5,000 years later. They aligned monuments to solstices. They organized labor forces in thousands. They traded across continents. They did all this before recorded history, before we thought civilization was possible. Point 1038/S415. 86-024-076-52-1. Karnak alignment, dating published Antiquity, June 2025. Doi 10.15/184/AQI.2.025.10123. Newgrange radiocarbon dates from Heritage Ireland Archives. Gantija Temple, documentation, UNESCO World Heritage Center, Site 132. Sechin Bajo excavation by Peter Fuchs, published 2008, confirmed by subsequent studies. Menorca UNESCO inscription 2023, Site 1528. Every date verified, every discovery confirmed, every claim sourced. Hunter-gatherers built structures requiring thousands of workers. Neolithic people coordinated labor across hundreds of miles. Bronze Age cultures developed sophisticated astronomy without writing. Island populations independently innovated megalithic construction. Pre-Columbian Americans built cities larger than European capitals. Polynesian seafarers crossed 3,000 miles ocean and carved monuments on isolated island. None of this fit the old narrative. Civilization beginning in Mesopotamia, spreading slowly, agriculture enabling everything else. That story is dead. The evidence buried it. Recorded cosmic catastrophe in stone. In Brittany, they hauled stones, aligned them by thousands, created Europe's first megalithic landscape. In Ireland, they engineered passage tombs that still function after 50 centuries. In Malta, they built temples older than anything in Egypt. In Peru, they constructed plazas rivaling old world monuments, all independently, all innovating, all leaving proof carved in stone or raised in earth. Not primitive, not simple, sophisticated. Research continues. 5% excavated at Göbekli Tepe, 1% at Karahan Tepe. 15 more enclosures buried, new samples dated, new alignments measured, new monuments discovered. The picture keeps changing, getting older, getting more complex. Every excavation season rewrites another chapter. Every radiocarbon date pushes complexity further back. Every astronomical alignment reveals more sophistication. The soil core from Karnak showing continuous occupation from 4700 BCE. The stone columns at Göbekli Tepe carved with vultures and snakes. The winter solstice beam at Newgrange illuminating chamber. The Scottish stone at Stonehenge's heart. The circular plaza at Sechin Bajo, older than any American structure. The T-shaped talas facing south on Menorca. The Moai watching over Rapa Nui villages. The Poverty Point ridges built without agriculture. The Cahokia woodhenge rebuilt 5 times same spot. The Gantija temple walls still standing after 5,600 years. These aren't myths. These aren't theories. These are documented, measured, dated, analyzed, published in peer-reviewed journals, confirmed by multiple independent teams, accepted by academic consensus. This is what happened. This is when it happened. This is how we know. The eye holes designed for coral and obsidian inserts. When inserted during dedication ceremony, the statue came alive, opened its eyes, began its eternal watch. Rapa Nui Islanders speak of this, the oral tradition passed down, generation to generation. When Europeans arrived 1722, Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen found statues still standing, eyes inserted. By 1868, all toppled, tribal warfare. Birdman cult ascendant, Moai cult abandoned, population dropped from 15,000 to 3,000, disease, slave raids, ecological collapse, deforestation complete, no trees to build canoes, no way to fish deep water, no way to leave, trapped on island, stripped of resources. The monuments remain, 887 statues, 397 Moai still at Rano Raraku Quarry. Various stages of completion, some just begun, some nearly finished, one partially buried, 68 feet long, 270 tons. Never completed, never moved. Why production stopped unclear. Theory, resource depletion reached critical point. No more logs to move statues, no more food to feed carvers. System collapsed. Moai abandoned in place. The main mound covers 1.5 acres, 2 passages. Eastern passage 40 meters long, western passage 34 meters. Only site in Ireland with 2 passages, both aligned. Eastern passage to equinox sunrise, western passage to equinox sunset. Perfect orientation. Mathematical precision. The mound surrounded by 17 smaller satellite tombs. Ritual landscape, necropolis, city of the dead, over 200 curbstones. Largest collection of megalithic art in Western Europe. Geometric patterns, spirals, lozenges, concentric circles. The western passage contains basin stone decorated with astronomical symbols. Solar and lunar calendars suggested. The site continuously occupied for 5,000 years. Neolithic builders, 28th century BCE. Iron Age settlement, 1st millennium BCE. Early Christian monastery, 8th century CE. Norman Mott fortress, 12th century CE. Each culture added layers, used the site, recognized its importance. The excavation began 1962, led by Professor George Yogan, continued for 40 years, revealed continuous human activity from Neolithic to medieval. Nowhere else in Ireland shows such long occupation. The mound higher than Newgrange. More stones, more art, more passages, yet less famous. Newgrange gets winter solstice, gets lottery, gets attention. Noth equally impressive, equally important, more complex in some ways. UNESCO includes both, World Heritage Site 1993. Together, they form Britain and Ireland's most important megalithic landscape. Southern Passage, 14 meters. Northern Passage, 24 meters. Both shorter than neighbors, but winter solstice, sunset lights, Southern Passage. Complements Newgrange, winter solstice, sunrise. The 2 bookend the shortest day, dawn at Newgrange, dusk at Douth. Astronomical pairing, intentional design. The Northern Passage, added later, secondary construction. Original mound built 33rd century BCE. Northern Passage, 31st century BCE, 2 centuries between. Same culture, same builders or their descendants. Why Second Passage? Unknown. Different orientation. Different purpose, perhaps. The site damaged by Victorian treasure hunters. 1847 excavation by local landowner seeking artifacts. He dug from top, created crater, destroyed internal structure, changed mound shape forever. What was lost, nobody knows. Artifacts taken, sold, scattered. Archaeological context destroyed. Later excavations salvaged what remained, but damage done. Irreversible. The name Douth derives from dubad, Irish word meaning darkness. Appropriate. Less known than neighbors, less visited, more mysterious, yet equally ancient, equally important. Part of the sacred triangle. 3 great mounds. Boyne Valley ceremonial landscape. Together they demonstrate Neolithic Irish sophistication, astronomical knowledge, engineering skill, social organization, cultural continuity spanning millennia. Earthquake suggested. Intentional toppling disputed. If standing today, visible for kilometers. Landmark, navigation point, possibly part of astronomical observatory. Alignment with moon, lunar standstill cycles. Alexander Thom proposed this 1970s. Controversial, not universally accepted, but possibility remains. Table des Marchands. Passage tomb, 4700 BCE. Stone ceiling slab, originally part of even larger menhir. Later broken, reused. Carved with symbolic engravings. Shepherd's crook, axe halves, possible boats. The carvings match pieces at Airgra tumulus nearby and Gavrina's Island across water. Same original stone, 14 meters long, shared between 3 monuments. Why broken? Why distributed? Ritual reasons suggested. Symbolic division of sacred stone, connecting sites through shared material. Airgra. Tumulus, 140 meters long, 25 meters wide, built around 45th century BCE. Contemporary with earliest Karnak alignments, elite burial, rich grave goods, polished stone axes. Symbols of authority, social stratification evident. Ruling class, present by mid-5th millennium BCE. Loch Mariaquer represents peak of Karnak culture. Largest stones, richest burials, most complex carvings. Then something changed. 42nd century BCE, activity decreased, monuments stopped, population declined or relocated. Why? Climate change theories, sea level rise, coastal flooding, resource depletion, social upheaval, no clear answer. But the monuments remain. Broken giants, silent tombs, decorated tunnels, testament to culture that flourished, then faded, left only stone. 3100 to 2500 BCE, 4 interconnected structures. Most elaborately decorated Maltese temples, stone reliefs depicting animals, spirals, geometric patterns, pitted decoration, made by pecking stone surface repeatedly, meditative work, Ritual in creation itself, evidence of animal sacrifice, burnt bone deposits, fire altars. Ritual feasting, the famous fat lady figurines found here. Venus figures, fertility goddesses. Female forms emphasized, breasts, hips, thighs. Reproduction symbolism, life creation, agricultural fertility, human fecundity, all connected in ritual practice. Fragment of colossal statue, seated figure, lower half preserved. Original height estimated 2.5 meters, 8 feet tall, massive. Would have dominated temple interior. Awe-inspiring presence, divine representation. The temples built over centuries, multiple phases, additions, modifications, continual use, continual adaptation, then abandonment. 2500 BCE. Temple period ends. Why? Theories compete. Climate change, crop failure, disease, social collapse, trade route disruption. Bronze Age, Mediterranean tumultuous. Cultures rising and falling. Malta affected, population declined, temples abandoned, filled with soil, forgotten. Rediscovered only 19th century. Excavation began, 1915. Sir Themistocles, Zamet, leadwork. Meticulous documentation. Preserved what could be saved, much lost to previous looting. But enough remains, enough to understand sophistication. Artistic achievement, religious complexity, social organization. The Maltese temple builders left legacy carved in stone. 5,000 years later still impresses, still inspires, still challenges understanding of Neolithic capability. Overlooks Mediterranean. Built 36th to 32nd century BCE. Complex consists of main temple and 3 additional structures, famous for extreme precision. Stone blocks, fitting perfectly, no mortar, no gap, earthquake resistant. 5,000 years later still standing, exposed to elements, sea winds, rain, yet endures. The facade impressive. Monumental entrance, massive orthostats, trilithon doorway, leading into complex interior. Multiple chambers, altars, niches, oracle holes, small openings in walls. Voices could speak through. God's voice, priest's voice. Same thing to believers. The largest stone at Hagar Kiyim weighs 57 tons. Transported from quarry, positioned precisely, without mechanical advantage beyond levers and rollers. Human ingenuity, determination, organized effort. One chamber contains stone with 7 holes drilled through, perfectly circular. Perfectly aligned. Purpose unknown. Alignment to specific stars suggested, observation instrument possibly, or ritual function, symbolic meaning. The temple aligned to summer solstice. First light enters doorway, illuminates specific altar. Celestial connection. The earth and sky united in architecture. Menajdra temples nearby, 300 meters away, built same period, similar style, different orientations. Lower temple at Menajdra faces equinox sunrise. Middle temple faces summer solstice sunrise. Upper temple orientation unclear. Together, Hagar Kiyim and Menajdra form UNESCO site, protected, preserved, open to visitors under controlled conditions, protective shelters erected, prevent weather damage, maintain microclimate, ensure structures survive another 5,000 years. 30 passage tombs, built 3400 to 3200 BCE, contemporary with Boyne Valley monuments. Less famous, equally significant. Cairn T largest, prominent. Entry stone carved with spectacular art. Radiating sun symbol, flower pattern. Astronomical alignments. Equinox sunrise illuminates backstone. Beam travels through passage. Lights 3-petaled flower carved on orthostat. Spring equinox, autumn equinox, twice yearly. Light ceremony. Rebirth symbolism, seasonal marker. The tombs contain cremated remains, bone deposits, grave goods, stone beads, bone pins, pottery sherds, evidence of Neolithic burial practices. The hills visible for great distances. Slive Nicalia, Hill of the Witch. Local folklore remembers. Stories passed down. Witch drops stones from her apron. Forms cairns. Children's tale. Contains memory. People knew site was ancient. Pre-Christian. Powerful. The view from summit spectacular. Flat plains below. Distant mountains. Boyne Valley visible northeast. Tara south. Strategic location. Sacred landscape. Skyline dominated by passage. Tombs. Statement of presence. Territorial marker. Connection between living communities and ancestral dead. The cairns remain. Weathered, some collapsed, some restored. Walking among them feels timeless. Neolithic presence tangible. Stone speaks across millennia. Whispers of people who watched same stars, marked same seasons, buried their dead in stone chambers, left messages in carved spirals, mathematical precision in passage alignment. These weren't primitives, these were astronomers, engineers, artists, priests, builders, organized communities capable of multi-generational projects, leaving monuments that outlast memory. Stone remembers when people forget. 5 continents, spanning 10,000 years, from Göbekli Tepe at 9600 BCE to Rapa Nui at 800 CE. Each one revolutionized something. our timeline, our assumptions, our understanding of what humans could achieve with stone and will and time. They didn't have machinery. They had organization. They didn't have writing. They had memory. They didn't have metal. They had stone. They didn't have calculations. They had the sky. They watched. They tracked. They remembered. They built. They left monuments that outlasted their languages, outlasted their cultures, outlasted everything except the stone itself. That was the point. Stone lasts. Stone remembers. Stone tells the truth 5,000 years later, 10,000 years later. The truth is this. Humans were building complex societies, monumental architecture, astronomical observatories, long-distance trade networks, hierarchical organizations before we thought possible, before we imagined, before our textbooks allowed. The stones don't lie, the dates don't lie, the monuments stand, silent proof that everything we learned was wrong.